Hello, everybody, and welcome to our course today. This is the second section of a multi-part course on digital marketing given by us here at Surefire Local. And the topic today is building a website that wins you more local customers. The idea is that we're building a course around 5 building blocks of a website that generates referral quality leads for your business. The whole idea is to get you more leads. My name is Bob Sheehan with Surefire Local. I've been working in the internet marketing sphere for something like 20 years. I serve as the brand and customer advocate here at Surefire, and I work with GAF contractors and other contractors across the country. We are Surefire Local. You probably have heard about us through the GAF network. We've been around since 2011, and we specialize in home services. So what that means to you is that we help folks like you build websites and internet marketing strategies around how to get more leads, how to get more customers, and how to grow your internet presence in a constructive way that will help you grow your business. So the mission at Surefire, what we kind of think about on a larger basis, is how to build a marketing technology and software company that will help businesses grow, right? And the way we do that is we've got a platform called the cloud, and we bring things into that cloud that are relevant, things that matter to internet marketing, and help you actually move the ball forward. Things that go in the cloud are things that we've determined work and that are important, and that address issues that are of concern today, because as you know, things that are online change all the time. So we try to keep that current, try to keep everything in there meaningful to you and useful, and make it easy so that you can do things in there that will actually help you. So today's lesson, or today's presentation, is broken up into 5 different sections. The first one is structured data. One of the most important things that we find on websites is this idea of structured data, where there are things in the code in the back end of these websites that we build in that help to tell Google what's actually there. So there's an example here of Handyman Connection is a site that we work on, and you've got this home page that really just asks you for a zip code, and it's presented to you. You can see there's a Johnson County headline on there. It's presented to you localized to where you are. And how that happens is there's a piece of code in here called schema, and we're marking up that page in the background so that we're basically able to tell Google, and we use that schema to tell Google that if the customer is in X place, then this is the page we want them to see. And if they're searching for words in this category, then this is a website that you can comfortably serve up to them, because it has the kind of content that they're looking for. So this is a way that we do things in the background that kind of help to get your site shown locally. What the customer sees, right, when the visitor comes to the website, they basically see this, which is just an address, right? But that address is actually reaching out to the search engine and saying, here's the kind of content we have. Here's the location of this website. When you have a visitor looking for these things in this place, this is a good page to serve up to them. So structured data is very important. We've built the company around the idea of structuring all of this data and managing all of this data in the cloud, and doing that in a way that helps you to get more leads. So there's lots of different kinds of structured data. In this case, you can see location signals is probably the biggest one. It's probably one of the most important ones. But there's structured data around reviews. There's structured data, around lots of different things that will help to tell the search engines what kind of content is on the site, where that site lives, where that, in relation to that customer, and really helps the search engines to figure out what's going on a website. So we manage that structured data. We try to keep that current We would encourage, if you're doing this yourself and you're trying to figure out how to get your website to work better, this is an important area that you'd want to kind of pay attention to and make sure that the location data that's on the site, that the review data that's on the site, the category information, that all of that is correct. And when it's correct, that will help you get more traffic. Another section of this presentation, or another kind of area that we want to talk about, is secure sites. So beginning in July of 2018, just a couple of months ago, Google basically said that if your site is not secure, you're not going to do as well in search. And they're doing that for a very good reason, that the internet has a lot of people out there, a lot of robots out there that are stealing information. There are a lot of kind of bad things going on the internet, and one way to really combat that, one way to kind of clean that up, is to make sure that sites are secure. When they're secure, there's a secure socket layer on them that prevents a lot of this kind of stealing of information that goes on. So any site that takes customer information, especially sites that take credit cards, need to be HTTPS. They need to be secure, and if they're not secure, they won't do as well in search. So that's kind of an important piece of this. NAP consistency is one of the most important things that could possibly be done on a website, and we focus very hard on making sure that this is correct. So NAP is name, address, and phone number. You've all seen, and we just showed it a second ago on the Handyman website, that you've got the where is the business, right? What's the address, the phone number, and we tell that to the search engine, right? Well, there's lots of other places where that information exists. So you might have 150 directories out there, right? You've got all these directories, and if there's consistency across those directories, then there's a trust level, right? When Google looks at that and sees it's the same everywhere, then they assume that it's a stable business that's been working on this for a while, that doesn't, that's not trying to hide anything or not trying to change anything, that it's very kind of trustworthy, right? That trust factor, that idea of being able to rely on that business name, address, and phone number helps Google to understand what's going on that site, and ends up being a major ranking factor, right? So the rule of thumb, the swing thought here is your online presence should look like your offline presence, right? If you physically exist in a place, then you want to have that place represented on the internet, on your website, and have that be exactly the same as it looks everywhere, right? So if you have that consistent across everything, that's a very good thing. And we work very hard to make sure that all of that information across all the directories, across Google My Business, and across websites, we make sure that all of that is correct and reliable. Tied to that, right? Tied to this whole idea of name, address, and phone number consistency is this idea of location. And Google gives us a tool called Google My Business. In a couple of different chapters of this presentation that I'm making here, we have other people who are going to come in. I believe Jeff White's going to do a Google My Business focused presentation. But the long and short of GMB is this is how Google puts a pin in the map around your business. This is how they locate you, and you're allowed to put in the physical information of that business. You're also allowed to set up a radius, so that will help to determine where your business shows up in search, right? If your radius is larger, then it's going to show up larger, and if your category is correct, then you're going to find that business shows up for the categories that you want to, and not for categories that you don't want to. It's a very important way that Google figures out what sites to put on the search engine page when people are searching for things. So this is, got to pay a lot of attention to GMB. We also use things like service area pages to locate websites and to point out places where companies do business for different kinds of categories, right? Siding, windows, roofing. And these location service area pages help us to provide Google with the idea of where we want to do business and what kind of business we want to do there. there's always been this idea of website content, and if you've been watching this for any amount of time, you've heard the term content marketing, and the way that we think about this now is the organization of it, right? We try to make sure not only is the content good, right? It's important that it be good, but that the content be easy to understand, that it be indexable by Google, and that it have the content that customers are looking for, right? So you've got menus that help you navigate websites. Those need to be clear and concise, and we call it hierarchical, but they kind of be top down, right? Big stuff at the top, and then get more focused as you go down those navigation elements. And then that there's a clear way to get from the content that you're looking at to the content that you might want to be looking at, there's a clear way to get to things like contact forms and phone numbers and call to actions, and that the site be well organized. When sites are well organized, they always do better than sites that aren't. And that's not only from a customer standpoint. Your customers being able to find their way around a site definitely matters, but the idea that Google figures that out too, and they serve websites that are better organized in a more in a bigger way. Recently, within the past few years, there's been more of a focus on speed and technical, right? And so websites need to be able to come down quicker. Along with the move to mobile, this has become a ranking factor. And the reason for that is pretty simple, right? If you're on a mobile phone and you're out in the world and you're looking for something, those customers don't have the kind of patience that other customers have, right? So if you're sitting at a desktop and you're at home and you got your laptop on your lap and you're looking for something, you got a little more time, right? When you're out in the world and you're on a mobile phone and you search for something, you don't have as much patience. And so what we hear is that pages that load slow, people abandon them. They go to other places. They leave the website, and so this becomes an important component of how we want websites to work, so that we can make sure that people stay on them, right? Google measures this. So if you end up leaving the Google search engine results page and you go to a website and in 3 seconds you come right back, there's two things going on there. Either the site didn't load quick enough, or you didn't like the content that was on it. Google takes note of that and makes sure that site doesn't show up for that search next time, or that it shows up lower on the page. So it's an important thing to make sure that the site is fast, that it's optimized, that it loads quickly, and that it presents the customer with what they want as quickly as possible. So the visitors abandon, they just leave, right? After 3 seconds, if the site doesn't load, they go to something else. And we see that in all of the data, and so we try to make sure that sites are mobile friendly, that they have the right kind of speed. We work on this technical aspect. We've got automated tools in the background that keep these websites fast and keep them serving correctly, so that customers will get what they want and they'll get it quickly, and they won't abandon the sites when they get to them. There's another component of this, which is accelerated mobile pages, which is relatively new, but we've begun to use those in websites that we build, where there's pages that contain less complexity, right? Less of these graphic elements and more of the idea of just, give me what I want, right? I want content. I want to understand what's going on. So these AMP pages serve really, really quickly. Because they do that, they get more engagement on mobile, and they tend to rise in the search engine. So we're beginning to deploy AMP pages across a lot of our websites, and those are an important component of improving the overall speed of a website, getting better engagement, feeding into the whole mobile experience, and making sure that customers on mobile devices get what they want, that they get it quickly, and that they don't leave the site. So AMP pages is one of those kind of next-gen things that we're in the middle of doing right now, that you'll start to see become more and more important as we go forward. And then, when you're doing all of this, right, if you're trying to manage your website and you've got all of these things happening, right, where you're working on schema and you're trying to figure out How do you manage Google My Business the best way? And you've got content that you're changing and you're publishing different kinds of things. It's going to become important that you analyze things correctly, right? You want to see that the things that you're doing to a website actually make a difference, right? Does the organic traffic rise when I change my GMV, or if I blog about a certain kind of content, let's say I talk more about roofing, does my roofing traffic increase, right? That all matters. So there's lots of tools, right? Google gives us a lot of free tools that come with the package that help us to analyze these things. And then, we get to go in there and kind of figure it all out, look at things side by side and see, okay, I did this, what was my result? And all of that is all around getting on the search engine results page. And if you look at the page here on the left, you'll see that it's divided up into 3 different sections. And most of what I've just been talking about is around the bottom 2 pieces, the local SEO and the organic SEO. Local is about the maps and about Google My Business and how that relates to your website. There's a directory listing component to that as well. Organic is all about the technical side of the site as well as the content that's on it. And then at the top, you've got this paid component, which we used to call AdWords, is now called Google Ads. And what we like to think about here is the idea of using all 3 of these things to get the most visibility that we can in that local market. How that works is we manage these 4 things on the right: recency, proximity, prominence, and relevance, right? Recency means we do things a lot, right? We publish a lot of content. We touch the site regularly. We pay attention to it. Proximity is all about the distance from the searcher. How do we give the search engines that local signal? How do we let it know where we are? Relevance is making sure that the things that we publish and the things that we use to bring traffic to the site are actually going to bring the customers that we want, right? That we're publishing the right kind of content to get visitors that matter. And then prominence is, the idea of when we do lots of this stuff and we get found in a lot of different places, that rising tide lifts all boats. Google will tell you that on average, a customer sees your brand 12 or 13 times before they become a lead for you, before they make a phone call or fill out a form. So prominence is very important. You've got to be in a lot of different places in order for that to happen. So that's our kind of presentation for today. We're certainly open for questions. If you've got any questions, there's a website here called marketing, or email at marketing@surefirelocal.com. And the phone number is 571-237-3391. We're happy to answer any questions that you might have about this presentation or anything else. Thank you very much for listening, and we look forward to talking to you sometime in the future. Thank you.